Sean, and thank you, Lee. I'm very honoured here to launch, or help launch, DCTV. We're living in a very different, changing world, technological world, which is driving change, particularly in broadcasting. It was interesting, I was holding a camera outside, which Sean was telling me, price now over 2,000 or 3,000 euros, but it has all the facilities that only 2 or 3 years ago you would get in a camera that might cost 10 times that. We can get editing suites now that previously would have required, that could fit into a computer that previously might have required a massive studio. We're seeing the development of platforms which allow new broadcasting to go out in a different way. Obviously on the internet, but the development of cable systems, development of satellite, and the development, I think, which we'll see next week, of new digital platforms, is leading to a change in the whole nature of broadcasting, leading to a move away from this model of one to many to the combination of that and many to many, where you have people have the ability to put up content and to broadcast it in new, innovative ways that are much more economic and I think have the potential to be much more democratic. As to what Sean said with interest in terms of the care we have to make sure that we do not just see this change as being purely a commercial change. I think Niamh was right when she said that one of the benefits of the community television approach we're seeing here is that it brings real education. Not just education in terms of the content, and since you're looking at the programming that's proposed, a lot of it does actually provide useful education on how we power down, on the children's program, which gives them real learning skills within it, on how we share cultures, food cultures and so on. That's very educational in my mind. But also it's educational in the sense that the people who participate in that, through participation, become educated about broadcasting, about the media, and develop a greater understanding of what actually, how media works, how communications work, and how broadcasting works, and how learning works, and education works. So I think there's a huge aspect here of learning that can come from community television. Some of the people who are engaged in that learning process and in that process of putting out programming will no doubt go on to have careers in broadcasting. And I think that's right and proper. You can learn a lot often from the most you learn lessons often in not big institutions or in big budget productions, but often you can learn your skills in very local and very flexible and very smaller scale productions. So some people, I think it's absolutely right, will go from DCTV to onto an industry to work on a commercial or on a career basis. But again, to reiterate what Sean was saying, I do not think we should emphasise that as the key delivery or the key outcome or the key measure of success in terms of community television. We're at difficult times in the economy at the moment. We're going to face into very difficult times, I think, in the next year or two. Maybe that will remind us in some sense that actually our economy is a social economy as well as a commercial economy. That in our city, social entrepreneurship has always been and will always be as important as commercial entrepreneurship. That our culture and our sense of ourselves and our sense of what's happening in our city is determined as much by that social economy as it is by the commercial economy. And I think community television is exactly the type of social economy, social infrastructure that is actually enriches a city and its people. And we have to support that in our policy. I'm proud to try as best we can in our department, in conjunction with the Broadcasting Commission, to try to make sure there is that space and there's viability and accessibility for such community infrastructure, for such community television services and radio services. Lastly, I'd have to say that if I was looking at three things: education, economy, social economy, and the last is entertainment. We want television to be entertaining. We need it to entertain us. One of my heroes in Dublin, one of my local heroes, has always been Con Boolan, journalist. And to some extent, one of the reasons why, firstly, he was accessible. You could always know where you would meet Con Boolan. You would know exactly the spot he would be in Barnwell Park or in Donnybrook rugby grounds. And you could approach him, as so many Dubliners did. Even in Mulligan's, you know roughly which bar stool you would be on at what time. But particularly for me, he was a hero because he celebrated the local. It was in the sense that his ability to write about an under 15-year-old football match with the same interest and the same lessons about humanity coming out of it as he would following Munster or an All-Ireland final or an Olympics event. In a sense, he celebrated and treasured the local, and I think in writing about it was hugely entertaining. And that's one, as a Dubliner, in the Kerryman, it was always my sense of, God, I loved reading about it because it celebrated my city, I'm a Dubliner, and celebrated the cultures that I was interested in sporting at the time and still am, in a way that really entertained me and was important to me. I think community television can do the same, that actually telling local stories by local people about local heroes, I think that can be hugely entertaining, far beyond what, as Sean said, can be a rather bland, constant stream of international stories, quite interesting, or not. I don't have the same potential storytelling that we can get from local community television. So I'm very proud to have launched this station. I wish it and everyone who's involved the best of luck. I commend the Broadcasting Commission in the application of the Sound Vision funding for the programming. I commend UPC for carrying the channel. I commend the City Council and all the various bodies we've referred to, voluntary groups who've been engaged in this process. I've got the button presser here. In our family at home, they were called the buttons. And there was always a big fight as to who got the buttons. My grandfather used to get hold of them, and you'd be certain that he'd have charged the television for the evening. So I have buttons, and I presume, Sean, tell me if I'm wrong, that I can press a button to launch.
In theory, yes.
Let's see if all that digital technology is going to work as I officially launch.